Hi, this is Belisat Meta, and this is the 21.1 release highlights for Student Information or DASL. I'm recording this video on Monday, October 18th, and we are installing this release on the late evening of Tuesday, October 19th. First thing I want to talk about is civil rights and their updated civil rights reporting in this 20.1 release, and I'm on Play where this release is already installed. One of the big changes with the civil rights is it now has its own guide. So you can click the question mark up here in the corner and it will take you to the doc site. And in this product guides tab, so this is where all of our documentation is, there is now a civil rights data collection guide. So this has been updated. The guide has been updated and ProgressBook or DASL has been updated for the 2021 Civil Rights Collection. So please make sure you check that out and refer to the release notes that are included in this email for any civil rights information. And I have the release notes showing here on the screen. I will refer to those occasionally. So the second thing I want to talk about is a pretty nice update. There's now a pronunciation field in DASL. So this girl's name is Otha Armstrong. And if I click on her magic white triangle, edit her profile on this general tab, you now have the pronunciation. And here's where I typed how you pronounce your name, Otha. When you do Registration Wizard, there'll be a place where you can type in the pronunciation. It's not required, it's optional. So if you don't fill it in, you could just keep moving forward. So that pronunciation then shows here on general. It also shows when I click on her photo, she had a photo right here, Otha. It also shows if I would click on the hyperlink for her name, it shows Otha here. This pronunciation also goes into Gradebook after the integration runs too. While I'm on the profile, I want to talk about some fields that were removed. So on the FN attributes tab, you won't see it on this version because it was removed. Admission to current high school field was removed. We don't use that anymore. On the FN grad tab, there were 3 fields removed that we don't use anymore. That's the core graduation requirement exemption date, the core graduation requirements met, and the expected grad date field. On this FN grad, all 3 of those were removed, and they were removed from Easy Query Assist Student Search too. So while we're on this FN Graduates tab, I want to talk about this fiscal year began 9th grade. And remember, this fiscal year began 9th is 2020, so that meant she began 9th grade in the 19/20 school year. So for grad points, there were some updates made. And I'm going to go to Otha's grad points page. And I go to her grad point summary. There is this new icon here. It is not functional at this time. So this is where the graduation plan will be eventually. So this does nothing now. This icon is just there as a pre-workup to where we're headed to for a graduation plan. I don't have any other information about this graduation plan and what it will look like or do at this point in time. So one of the big things I wanted to point out is they actually broke this page in the tabs. So when you have a kid, and I have this all filled out here, if you have a kid and their fiscal year began 9th on their FN is 2015, 2016, or 2017, you should see the 2018 plus optional requirements and the 2018 plus requirements. So you should see 2 tabs if this was working right and their fiscal year was 2015, 16, or 17. If you have a kid whose fiscal year began 9th, says 2018 or 2019, you're going to see 2 tabs, the 2018 plus requirements and the permanent requirements tab. If you have a kid whose fiscal year began 9th is 2020 or later, you should only see one tab. So this kid's fiscal year began 9th was 2020. So this is, I should be seeing one tab, the permanence requirements, but this is broken for every other kid. So that will be fixed in the future. We'll get our tabs back. Bottom line is you're never going to see 3 ever again all at the same time. You're either going to see 2 of them or 1 of them. I don't have a date as to when this is going to be fixed, hopefully soon. But if you want to screenshot this little snippet here and save this, probably be helpful in the future. Okay, let's keep moving because I'm already at almost 6 minutes. Also on the grad points, there is in this additional options for kiddos who have taken this industry credential. Now it actually shows the code. It used to just say CPR first aid. So if you looked on production right now, you wouldn't see these codes, but now these show. So this is coming from this assessment industry credential coming off of here. And so again, now it's showing the code also. Okay, next thing we've got, there are new industry credentials added, and please refer to page 16 of the release notes. So these release notes that are included in the email will list all of the permanent requirements. I thought it was 16. Yes, here they are. These are added. Also, the assessment standards were updated, and they removed standards that we no longer use. So like the achievement test, we haven't had those for years. They removed the standards for that. They've also removed some of the assessments that we no longer have. So when you go into SIS student assessment, and it would list all of their tests, and you could click the button and then go to their end of course. Well, these have been removed because we no longer give these tests. So they're trying to clean up outdated things in DASL or student information. There's a full list here, and I think there's some other cleanup items somewhere else too. And I'm sorry, I didn't jot that page number down. They've added international baccalaureate assessment codes. So those are added here. Building, district and building record. So I'm not going to go over each one of these. Please consult the documentation of all the updates for the building, the district and building record. Okay, before I forget, assessments. For the Okta, they have fixed the Okta load, and it now loads with the correct score not reported value. So if you were to load an Okta file later this week after we've installed that release, it would load with the correct score not reported file. So if you remember, state support and frontline had to run a script to flip the value before that transfer got sent. So you no longer have to do that. It's going to load with the right value. Okay, next thing on assessments, they fixed the AASCD. So that's the all assessment. They fixed the import date. They also fixed the next gen math. The score of 90 transfers correctly. And now all the high school all assessment scores are included in the file. What was happening before, if a kid took a test in fiscal year 20 and then the same test in fiscal year 21, which was last year, that score wasn't going, both scores weren't going, only the latest one was. So they fixed that, and now both scores go. They also fixed the GX transfer, and that's the alt assessment OGT. Now the file includes all high school kids and their alt assessment record. They also fixed the KRA pre-ID, and it no longer includes withdrawn kids or kids without a schedule. And I think that's it for the highlights. This is definitely a release you'll want to check out the release notes for, because there's a lot of good information, lots of new codes added. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send us a ticket. You email ProgressBook help at Meta Solutions, and it makes a ticket automatically. Thanks.